Today I'm going to be creating a leading family photo, vintage style. Hi, it's Therese from Lostinpaper, and I'm going to create a photo scene. I've got a piece of, this is just some scrap paper cut to the same size as my cardstock, and that way I can use my MISTI and know that everything's going to be in the same place. When you're stamping out a scene, if you're going to be just doing one layer of image, which is what I'm doing here today, you do need to mask your images so that they look like they're in the right order. So how I kind of look at it is I think what's going to be in the very front, that's what I need to stamp first. So this leading gentleman, I wanted him to be wearing his tie. So to get my placement right, I simply just laid him on the piece of cardstock and popped the tie on his chest, picked up the tie only with the MISTI lid, and then placed him aside for a minute. And then I can just simply stamp out my pieces of cardstock. I am using tuxedo black ink today because I'm going to be doing lots of Copic colouring. And then I have some stamp masking paper that I've already cut out my masks with, and I can just lay that over top of the tie, and that way when I stamp him over on top of the tie, once I remove the mask, it looks like the tie's in the front. I'm going to be doing lots of this with my whole scene, so you'll probably get to see it a few times. Alright, so after I've stamped him, I can remove my mask, and then because I am doing two cards at the same time, I'll just repeat the process on my second piece of cardstock. The great thing about the MISTI is if it doesn't stamp perfectly, I can always restamp it. Now, I did have to think about this image a little bit harder, and I probably didn't go about it the most easy way. Is that English? The easiest way? I wanted to stamp the frog, the toad, out of the little gentleman set, which is the new set being released this month from Hutson. And just to get the placement right, what I did was partially stamp the toad and then laid out the little boy on a different angle of the MISTI so that I could keep my stamps in position, because I only have the one MISTI. Only, like I say that like it's a bad thing. I have one MISTI and I'm making it work. And then I could easily just stamp the little boy and mask the arm off and re-stamp the toad there, and that seemed to work. So next I've got the city lady, and I want the little scarf to be around her neck. So I did have to stamp that first because I want that in front, and then once she's stamped over top, I can remove both the mask for the leading gentleman and for her scarf. My final image today is the little lady, and I've masked my lady off, and I have pre-stamped a little butterfly that's going to be in her hair. And here's my tip. Concentrate. Look what I just did. I stamped her without masking the lady. I had the mask on the wrong one, so now her arm is stamped over. Mum, that's bad, but I'll fix it, and that card is at my blog. So today's version that I'm going to share with you here at the YouTube channel is a vintage style. So I've decided to colour the whole image in sepia tones. But the other version of card that I've made is bright. So you'll actually be able to see what the colour of their clothes are. And it's amazing what a difference it makes colouring the image in sepia as opposed to like sort of bright colours. How it makes it does actually make it look like an older photo. It's weird. The sepia was probably easier in a lot of ways because I only had to sort of change back and forth between about 5 colours, and I used the E40 range, which is a perfect combo of colours for the sepia. It has that sort of a little bit of an orange undertone in the browns, and I kind of really like the way that this ended up looking and all the layers that I achieved. And I like this one better because I stamped her properly. So I'll just talk you through how I did fix my image on the other one, because obviously the little girl's arm ended out in front of mum. I could have, there's a few ways I could go about it, but the easiest one was to restamp her cardigan, and that in particular, just that left part of her cardigan on a separate piece of cardstock. I coloured it in and then I fussy cut it right to the edge, and then I just adhered it with some glue. If you touch the picture, you will feel that it's not exactly one layer, but at least I managed to save the picture. And if you go into my blog and have a look, you'll be able to see it actually isn't obvious, but I might be fooling myself. See what you think. So one thing that I did want to share with you about masking, other than to concentrate and make sure you've got your mask in place before you stamp, is that when you're cutting out your masks, so when you're fussy cutting them, just cut right on or slightly near the inner portion of the black line. So that way when you stamp an image over top, you've got more chance of getting the outline right up to the previously stamped image. The other thing that you can do, if you find that there are some minor gaps where your stamp images meet, is in particular here it's really easy because I used black ink. I just came in with a black Copic multi-liner and just extended the stamped image lines so that they touch the image beside them. And to be honest, with all the colouring that I'm doing here, you're really not going to see those misstamps. Really, it's negligible. It just comes down to personal OCD-ness, whether you can cope with it or not. I added a little scene behind my images because they were looking like they were, and because it's vintagey, I just wanted it to look more like they were in a proper photo as opposed to just standing in a white background, which most people wouldn't do. Now this I thought was the perfect die cut. It's the penny black antique frame die, so that just gave a raggedy edge to my photo. I've got some splats from the old and new, it's called A Splash of Colour, and using a couple of the Distress Oxide inks to add that to the front of my card. And the sentiment came from the Everyday Hero Lady set. Now because it's such a busy card for me, I don't normally do cards that are this busy. I struggled with the depth of colour, so to mute that colour a little bit, I actually just added a layer of vellum over the top of my splattered background, and I liked that much better. And did you know that there's a leading grandma released too this month? She's awesome. But she didn't make it to the family photo. Sorry, Granny. Alright, so like this video if you like it. If you haven't already, I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel. Till next time, happy paper crafting. Bye.